It was strange leaving the meeting with Balin, stepping from the oil-lit underground room out into the air of Dale. As your eyes readjusted to the warmth of the light, your mood needed to go into reverse. The delight at Balin being alive needed to be masked and replaced with a visage of grief. That was not the only deception that was in play. Somehow, some of you had found yourselves bending your principles, all for the greater good, you're sure, but talking against your natural inclination. Such is the way of the shadow. Those first steps always gilded by good intentions. Perhaps Clovis has started his own road, believing that it would all turn out well in the end. Nevertheless, you had spoken with the owner of the boat, had recovered his letter, had told the two Smiths you were sympathetic and available for further discussion. Cirque, at least, understands that words have power, whether truly spoken or not. Welcome everybody to Mostly Off Topic, playing Loftar of Dragons. I'm Paul, I'm going to introduce myself first this time. I'm joined by Ben.
Hello.
Joe.
Hello.
Matt.
Hi.
Welcome. We've had interesting weeks. I think everybody's had an interesting week this week. So we're hoping to kind of like enjoy a lot off stream. That being said, we've just had a slew of IT challenges. Certainly I had to abandon a game I was playing last week because the internet just didn't work. So please bear with us if we go offline or I go offline or what have you. We will try and get back up as soon as we can do so. Spoilers for Loftar of the Dragons, so it's every session, every episode. We are playing through the book, we're quite tight to the book, so you will get yourself spoiled if you're playing anything from there, which doesn't necessarily mean that your lore master has said, hey guys, we're playing Loftar of the Dragons. They may well be doing other things, and it's quite likely that we'll get interrupted by somebody. No? You're not interested, Boost? Okay. Who will be advertising his channel, I'm sure. And in fairness, he advertised our channel on his channel the other day. So, you know, I'm not sure his audience is that bothered about what we do. And thank you everybody for watching, for the views, for the comments, all over the place. It really is pretty cool, actually. It's really surprising and quite fulfilling and very motivating to give us feedback. So please do keep on doing that. It kind of keeps us focused a little bit. When you've had a long week and you're kind of like, you know what, this is just a bit tricksy. I haven't quite done the prep I want to do or what have you. Knowing that you're going to be pushing content out that people want to see does actually keep us going. Me going. Shall we quickly recap?
I think that would be really useful for me.
I think it'd be useful for me as well. I was hoping somebody else
Who are we?
do so.
What are we doing?
So you three have character sheets that you can look down at and find your names.
Oh, that's
Oh, dice. You know what? Dice would be useful.
Oh yeah. I've got them out, but I haven't got them arranged. Excuse the noise.
So you met with Balin on the road
We did.
after he'd been attacked. You went into Dale. You found out that Balin had been murdered. You started to investigate that murder. You found out a bit of information, and then you had stumbled across a couple of Smiths from the Iron Hills who were not at all pleased with the toy market, the way in which kind of the toy makers had reached positions of any kind of positions really in Dale, and it was an erosion of traditional dwarven sensibilities was their argument. They were cornering the market on valuable metals. They were corrupting the young, and the blame was placed fairly squarely on the advisors of King Dane, because the king himself would not, willingly, knowingly allow this kind of activity to occur, this kind of erosion of dwarven rightness and sense of what is appropriate and proper behaviour. You then kind of got on and I think you've kind of decided to play along a little bit and to offer an empathetic ear. Certainly Torg and Loftar had done so. I don't think Cirque was particularly privy to the conversation,
Right.
let alone had agreed with that tack. And you had said, guys, come on, let's go and grab a beer over at over at the Golden Sheaf. And then you'd kind of
I don't think he's agreed with anything we plan to do so far.
I didn't plan on being part of the group. You were merely muscle while I was on the road, and you've dragged me into all sorts of shenanigans so far.
Kicking and screaming.
Yeah. I've got a really interesting thing out of it that I want to study further, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I might get more interesting things to study.
That's very true. There are some. They are friends with benefits, as I believe that's exactly what the phrase is supposed to be.
Acquaintances with benefits.
In any case, you then met with Balin, who was not dead, but was kind of in hiding so that he could be better positioned to unravel the threads of a conspiracy that he'd been tugging at. And there'd been lots of friction being created between the kingdom of Dale and the kingdom of Erebor, and Balin, wise with his years, had suggested it was very much like two siblings who were squabbling in their early youth and hadn't quite worked out the boundaries and such like. But the conspiracy that he'd been tugging at was worrying him. He thinks that there was a member of the Stone Guard in Erebor that had spoken out of turn fairly publicly, and then had died in a barrel of ale. Been drowned in a barrel of ale before Balin was able to interview him. And then Balin thinks that he had got summoned so that he could get ambushed. So it was easier for him to do these investigations from a point of death. And therefore you became his eyes and his ears. And to further the illusion that you were investigating Balin, you kind of went and visited the scene of the attack, the reported scene of the attack, and you also found out who owned the boat that you had seen fleeing, the Dorwinian vessel, and you had interviewed that individual who had recovered the boat earlier that day and provided you with a letter. And Cirque, you kind of were of the view that it was very much written written by a dwarven hand.
Yep.
And the letter reads, "The passage is complete. Make sure your men are prepared."
That is exactly how the letter reads. And you also know that there had been some servant of a Lord of Dale, so I'm getting my blanket out because it gets cold in my study. There's some servant.
Settle in, children. I'm going to tell you a story.
It's a little bit like that, isn't it? A little bit like that. Apart from, I don't know why Washerwoman 3 is here.
She felt like a good storyteller.
Yeah, and I had met with a red-liveried servant of a noble of Dale, so that's kind of how much you know. And I think
haven't we figured out that it's Lord of Stromberg? It's Birdie?
No, I think the
chain.
chain.
His daughter was the chain leads to them because his son was knocking off a servant daughter or something in that person's household.
To the extent that Cirque paid attention, that's probably your recollection of it. But that was a name that had been mentioned, but there's no further evidence to say that. And that was very much a chain that linked the Easterlings through to the Dorwinian agent. So read into that what you will. Balin had also said seek out the toy maker Thrun, So you've got other opportunities. So let's we'll say it's the morning of the following day, because it was kind of later in the day when you had finished off with the Dulwidian character, Gwayan. So the morning dawns. It's another cold but bright. It looks like it's going to be a nice spring morning. There's migratory birds are starting to return to Dale. So there's more sparrows and such kind. Some of the early swifts and have returned. Swifts and swallows have returned there. And there's the sound of the town waking up, the bells going off in the houses around you, but it is still cold. The sun doesn't crest the mountain of Erebor quite yet to hit the golden sheaf with the warming rays. And you sat in the common room enjoying a beer and a morning coffee, I guess.
In the morning.
It's all got a bit Weatherspoons
Maybe
by Loftar.
Maybe bacon and mushrooms.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's quite a lot to process here, in terms of kind of threads to explore. So we've got. So this letter is. The letter was found by Halward in the boat. Then. By the boatmaster.
No, it was found by Gwion, the owner of the boat.
Yeah.
When he recovered it, and it was found kind of tucked underneath the prow, the seat by the prow of the boat. And yes, the passage is complete. Make sure that your men are prepared.
So the wording of that, the passage is complete, could refer to Balin's journey. But make sure your men are prepared. So if this is written in Dwarven hand, which Cirque is pretty sure that it is, then this suggests some kind of conspiracy by a dwarf or dwarves and someone in Dale who is a man, probably connected to whoever took the boat, right? That's what that seems to point to.
Logical.
There's one question that I've got that's kind of been eating away at me since our last session, and that is if Balin wasn't murdered and cast down in the street, then who was? Because someone was. Where's one of his what?
One of his doubles. He's got a collection of clone twins just for this kind of occurrence.
Balin too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was hoping
check under the eyelid
as well last time.
What's that, Matt?
No, I was just saying that I was hoping we'll get down to the bottom of this. I mean, after the investigation of the crime scene, I was like, "Where's the body?"
Habeas corpus.
Yeah. So I guess that's. I don't know. What are the? Have you filed your report on the investigation yet, Loftar?
It's still in the making. There are some leads that I do need to follow. So I'm not ruling anything out yet. But
okay,
a body would be a big help, though. Yes.
Yeah,
half jokingly, perhaps we should visit a coroner's office to
You're going to get drunk before you do that one as well.
I thought we are getting drunk. Hang on, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, right? We're having a beer, right?
Quincy, was it Quincy who was the
womanizer? And sometimes did some medical and did some investigating, did some womanizing, and occasionally did some coroner duties on the side. He wasn't on his boat.
He was an MD, right?
Yeah.
Quincy MD, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I remember.
Yeah, that was when you used to have letters after your name.
I think we've lost Joe.
No, I don't think the
TV
internet.
show, like Magnum PI. Quincy MD.
Oh, he's back. He dropped out slightly there.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Did I cut out?
Yeah.
I just made a joke about there being TV shows in the 80s when people had letters after their names, like Magnum PI, Quincy MD, and a load of others.
To support your theory and point.
So back on
one
track.
Of the
Back
best
on
ones
track.
was
Yeah.
Walker, Texas Ranger. Let me just that's
Look at TR.
Yeah. TJ Hooker.
Chuck Norris. Come on.
That's before his name.
Okay, so look, this letter is the kind of, this seems like a really big clue. Okay.
What more is there to get from it, short of doing like handwriting comparisons with all the dwarves in the city?
I don't know. Is there a seal on it? There's nothing of note about the letter.
What it's given us, the fact that we know we're looking for a dwarf now. I think we might have got the clue from the clue.
Yeah, dwarf in cahoots with a man.
So we suspect is this Lord of Stram. What is it? He's not called Brindy. What's his actual name of the guy we're potentially going to neb round his?
So there are three that you know.
I've got Umbar, Lord of Brashbrook, Thane Oscar, and then my handwriting looks like Brindy.
So there's
Or
Thane
Birdie.
Oscar, Gunvar, Lord of Ashbrook, and Bruni, Lord of Strandberg.
Brinny.
Bryni.
Yeah.
And are these all kind of areas in Dale?
So
Are they?
two are. So Strandberg is one of the larger towns in the Northern Dalelands. Ashbrook is a smaller village, but a fairly affluent village because it's got really prime countryside, really good orchard growing area, so produce quite a lot of cider and kind of brandies,
Perry?
liqueurs, perry. Well, yeah, perry. But it's a smaller area. You don't know masses about them. It's also Ashbrook's closer. Whereas Thane Oscar is a noble of Dale or of Esgaroth, who resides in the actual town. It's not at all unusual, to your knowledge, that you've been in Dale about a year or so now, that the nobility from the towns in Dale's kingdom, the wider kingdom of Dale, will have quite a lot of visits into Dale, either on business or on pleasure or anything along those lines. The Missing Scale, which is the top tier in Dale, which butts onto Market Square, quite often hosts quite a number of these luminaries, or they may well have townhouses that they own within the town, or they may well have arrangements where they will share a property and maybe borrow from another noble or what have you, and reside in that kind of thing. Have we lost Joe, or is he just playing statues?
No, he's moving.
Oh, okay. He's not on my screen.
He's looking very thoughtful on your screen, though. It's a good face for this moment.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can just Photoshop me in for the edit.
Or we'll just we'll get I can't remember his name. Don't matter. It's a better joke when you can remember their name.
Yeah, it does work. Okay, you're back to me now. So that's kind of all that you really know about that cluster of nobles, and there are other nobles around and about. And one of the things that Bard has been doing to repopulate the kingdom is passing parcels of land out. If you could demonstrate that you or your family line had a claim to that land pre-Smaug, then it kind of went to you. Otherwise, essentially everything reverted to the crown, and there was quite a brisk trade. And you'll have encountered this a bit, Cirque, when you've kind of gone to the records and talked with Domi and such like. There's been a quite brisk trade in people trying to prove claims to land. So there's been a number of land disputes throughout the kingdom.
Would we know if any of these three people have been particularly involved in any of them recently?
Not at this moment. You have to then kind of go
We do
and
them.
get a feel for them, or their
Like I
general
use the
routes and stuff.
microfiche and look through old newspapers.
Exactly that kind of thing.
Did you, Paul? Did you say the missing scale?
Yes.
Sorry, is that a tavern or something?
It's an
or?
inn. So it's the 5-star Mayfair Hotel equivalent of Dale.
Where we should be staying.
Yes.
Yeah, but for appearances purposes, we're staying in the Golden Sheaf.
Well,
So
it's
not
kind
to
of
arouse suspicion.
it's where you should be staying. I'm probably as prosperous.
Yeah.
I'm probably well placed, and Loftar's grasping. He's punching above his
Loftar
weight.
would need a subsidy. I would need to get a large subsidy from my clan. I wouldn't get it past any expenses to the form. So.
Yeah, when he submitted his expenses, it'd be like
Just like you what?
Yeah.
Just go to Premier Inn. That's what I would be told. Or the Golden
Like the
Shift.
Premier Inn.
Other reasonably priced hotels are also available.
Yes.
Well, we're not sponsored, and I don't mind Premier Inn want to sponsor us. Please feel free.
Okay, so
do
moving back on Joe. Thank you.
Okay, so do we as a group, do we feel like we have a line of kind of inquiry to pursue if we go to the missing scale? And
Well, not really. Like we vaguely think one of these three people might be involved in some way, but we don't know anything about them yet. I think we need to learn more about these three people.
So it sounds to me like
And
you're getting your
also-
session objectives together. So shall we?
Yeah. So
And so learn something about these three people. See if any of them have got any beef.
yeah.
If there's been any land grabs going on recently, that type of stuff. And aren't we also meant to go talk to that toy maker again, who wasn't bothered that Thingy was dead, and we now know why he wasn't bothered that Balin was dead.
I do think that's Thrun, right?
Through.
Yeah, so this is the one that Balin said if things get dire, we should speak to Thrun. So I think
We've got to find him.
We save that later.
Interject.
I think we do need to speak with Thrun and somehow convey that we know.
If we go to him and say,
Yeah.
it's such a shame that Balin's dead.
Yeah, I like that.
Exactly.
Oh,
And the other,
We'll
so
circle do it. It'll be fun.
the other kind of piece of the puzzle for me is the make the Iron Hills great again, guys. Who those two dwarves seem worth pursuing because of the the plot back in Erebor against Dane. There's all about this the heritage, the dwarven heritage.
I wonder if they're like the public face of something a bit more sinister. You know, they're the Jerry Adams of this environment, of this movement.
Their voice was
But they
dubbed
would
by a
know
BBC
even
actor.
perhaps.
Go on, sorry.
Lip sync was excellent.
Go, Matt.
No. So I think I just want to follow up on Ben's point. Sorry, Cirque. That's right. Even if they had nothing to do with this, they're not in cahoots with any man or men. They might perhaps have some views on who is, especially if they are rich in conspiracy theories, are as most people of that ilk are, I guess. I don't know. Conspiracy theories tend to be popular nowadays. Perhaps they have their own theories about who's taking away from dwarves and we know all about the fraud that's going on and that kind of business. Someone's getting sort of robbed and things like that. They will probably point us into the right direction.
So let's turn this into an objective for the session then. So you will feel that you've achieved your goal
if we learn something about the three noblemen on our list.
Mm-hmm.
They're the three on the top of the court board at the minute.
Yeah.
Haven't got any red crosses through any of them yet.
Yeah.
And we want to reveal to Thrun the fact that we know or that we are close to Balin, and that
we
we
know that he
basically we
knows
want
that we
to,
know.
and we also want to get some information out of Thrune, right? We don't know what sort of information, but we feel like if we reveal that to him, that he will then help us to progress.
You might be able to give us a steer on whether those other two are worth kind of inquiring further into as well. You two make the Iron Hills great again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So narrow down your likely kind of conspirator,
Suspects.
I guess, and go and establish contact with people that might be close to Balin and on your side. Sounds
Yeah.
good. Where do you want to go
that's fair.
first?
Well, Thrune is pretty nearby.
Yeah, you'd expect him to be at work today, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, go chat to him and then possibly go do some research.
He might actually give us a little bit of a lowdown on the kind of
True. Might save
way
us some
we
work.
should approach this second bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's seek Thrune out again, I think, with the new knowledge that he is an ally of Balin.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Torg and Loftar, you know where his workshop is. You've got relationships with the toy makers, so you kind of know the general gist of it. You recall that Thrune is one of the leading lights of the toy makers.
He was the one that was harassed or just nagged by the.
He was in the toy market square, yes, when those two dwarves were saying their piece.
Yeah. I think the word would be Miga or Maiga. May Iron Hills great again, kind of, so that we can abbreviate that. Yes, but sorry. Let's do that.
Well, we'll get hats produced and stuff. Okay. So you head out of the Golden Sheaf into the streets of Dale. The streets are fairly alive. Labourers head into their morning tasks. The stalls of the market square reverted back to their normal activities, a mixture of staples such as bread and vegetables, along with lots of small food stalls providing handy bites to people. Breaking their fast as they're moving about, and then setting up of the various other stalls that are here, the bric-a-brac stall and the clothing stall and all of that kind of activity, all divided up into their nice neat little areas as they move through. As a group of dwarves, people are respectful towards you as you move past. The death of Balin still hangs. There's an increased presence of guards, but less so, given that it's not the toy market. And as you kind of look out, you can't not see the massive shoulder of Erebor. The ravens are crossed by Raven Hill, start to fly up into the ground, and everything becomes that bit more green out in the lands as the spring is starting to really get its grip on the country side around. A lot of influx of wagons coming in now through, driving some of the first lambs forward towards their slaughter down by the gate. A lot of noise around that, and you see a patch of almost dead grass out in the commons where Cauldron, the Brotherhood there, have started to pack up their gear. They're obviously thinking that campaigning season kind of needs to be getting off a little bit as well. Not wholly gone by any measure, but where they've pulled the tents up and the grass hasn't seen the sunlight, and it gets that really kind of pale yellow colour underneath and so on. And then the bells start to kind of ring out, and you hear the shrillness that you come to recognise to be the king's bell. Summoning his court to order. A lot of movement as people hear the bell in the market square and start to move across to the king's palace towards the top of the market square, which is all fronted in dark stone, but also catches the first light as the sun crests across across the shoulder of the mountain, and the light just spills and brings to life the indentations and the texture of the rock. And you're making your way through to Anverway, and you come across Thrun's workshop there, closed workshop, not open out to the elements like some of the smithing situations here. And the toy makers have a much smaller kind of shop presence. The big smiths are very much like almost a construction, what do they call them, where they're like different. Henry Ford is famed for a production line. They are like a production line, whereas an apprentice will have kind of one job, and they're there on the file, and then another person makes the handle, and it gets moved from stage to stage to stage. And these big smithies and the big mass outputs, the toy makers are single, one-man band style, who are very bespoke in what they do, so they've got a much smaller footprint. And you come to Thrun's shop, and you kind of step inwards. It's a delight. It's a wonder. It's a home of wonders. The equivalent of the dragon that you saw kind of weaving around his finger. There's all kinds of intricate, small, some of them half finished, some of them clearly prototypes gathered around. There's a workbench off to the side. All three of you make this a very crowded space, and you kind of look up, and there's all kinds of stuff dangling, spinny coloured kind of tops, and drift in the wind as you open. There's an amber light comes through from what looks to be stained glass with candles or a lamp behind it, so that the glass is illuminated. And Torg and Loftar, you recognise immediately the scene. It is the scene of the one of the pillars of Erebor, the main furnaces that are used to smelt down the iron ore to generate the iron that gets turned into steel further on down the process, with the furnaces that create the coking coal, again used to kind of to create the steel that Erebor is famed for. And these huge, intricate, complicated, fantastic designs are one of the places that any smith who is ever trained in Erebor or ever introduced to Erebor is shown as the spiritual home of smithcraft for the dwarves. And the kind of 5 pillars, the 5 main furnaces are beautifully captured in this stained glass. The whole place smells quite scented. Various smells and scents. You can see some incense sticks being burned off in one corner, freshly lit, not burned down very long. And then a rather chubby, kind of happy-faced, ginger-bearded fellow, kind of braided bits of his beard, fairly young for a dwarf. More optimistic in his manner and in his demeanour than most dwarves have reputation for. Ah, welcome. Oh, so you came. Well, I hope I haven't discomforted you any with my that encounter in the market square. No, but please be seated. And he kind of clears some space away. Oh, I've only got 2 stools. Oh, let me just move that. And he puts a couple of stools there and kind of like leans against his work desk. And I don't think I've adequately thanked you for your help, and I wish to provide some explanation for the behaviour of my kinsmen. I'm not trying to excuse them for their aggression, but I've pondered the question, and I think there might be more to it than a simple grudge. You see, I think that in recent years, dwarves from the Iron Hills have watched the rising kingdom of Erebor with mixed feelings, and where people like myself have found an opportunity to develop our craft beyond even the wildest dreams of our ancestors, others pity our ambition and consider our work to be nothing more than a meaningless waste of time, not benefiting the cunning of our kind. Now, it's just understandable that those 2 poor lads from the Iron Hills feel such anger to see that jewellers and toy makers encounter success and prosper in our trade, all the more when their eyes are honoured and the craft of the toolsmith just languishes, forsaken and forgotten. But this is nonsense. It's nonsense, of course. There's now a wide world outside of mines and strongholds, and there'll always be someone needing good tools, genuine good tools like hammers, pickaxes, and mattocks. Like several of my best tools came from Niping's forge. Now, and I know they won't thank me for saying this, but they should just be proud that their work means I can create my work, because their work is so it's solid, isn't it? Solid. No, Niping particularly, he's a finer smith as has never been. Maybe a bit too tight in his old ways to my mind, but I mean, let's face it, someone has to do that kind of drudge, don't they? Making the tools. I'd hardly be able to produce such masterpieces like that. I mean, mine's all about this ingenuity and this creative energy that I possess. It's all a lot of spade work, and I'm really glad that he's doing it for us. Now, where would it be without that honest toil of those dwarfs over there? And I know that they say that against supplies of things like mithril is that much harder, but it's beautiful metal, and it deserves to be turned into some things like these things, not utilitarian thing. Now, and I know that means that it costs more than perhaps it used to, but trade has been brisk these last few years, so I mean, we as toy makers can afford that, and I've had a lot on my mind, and I'm glad that I was able to talk to you about that. It's been very cathartic. And then he takes a breath.
Do you need some water thrown?
That's good. He kind of goes across, and his hands are shaking slightly as he kind of like pours.
Here, take this stool. I'll stand. It's fine. You really have offloaded a lot of weight from your mind.
It's just been on my mind, and it just came as a single text block, and I just felt like I needed to get that out there.
Well, you articulated it very well under the circumstances.
Yes.
Here, are you calmer now? Do you feel better? Do you have enough air?
I feel a lot better, thank you. Yes, a lot better.
Okay. Well, there's quite a lot to unpack there.
Yes.
But your workshop is incredible.
Oh, it is wondrous, isn't it?
I heard you mention mithril there.
Yes.
Are these pieces made from mithril?
Some of them are. Some of them are, but some of them, and get this is fantastic. Some of them are just steel underneath. But and some of my colleagues in Anvil Way, we've found a way to line the steel with something that looks like mithril, has a sheen of mithril, and it can polish up to such a fantastic finish. But it isn't wholly mithril. I mean, how fantastic is that? We're calling it plating it. And this is a mixture.
Amazing.
A mixture of silver plate. This is the kind of ingenuity that we as toy makers, because we're forced to try to get to smaller and smaller and more intricate works. We have to think outside of the card, outside the box, outside of the card. It's just I've got so much creative
outside the barrel almost.
Yes. That's really good. I must write that down. Outside of the barrel.
Thinking outside the barrel. Yeah.
Working, creating outside of the barrel.
Probably creating inside the barrel would just be awkward. You've been doing it that way all this time.
It depends what else is in the barrel, sir.
I feel exactly how I think Durin felt when he breathed life into us, into the Longbeards. That creative impulse to apply what's in my head, all these thoughts that race through me, and bring it to life. And I mean, like the movement and the the way in which we can create like this. It is a sacred and a sanctified act.
Have you been plating the steel this morning through? and does this process give off fumes of some kind?
That is an unfortunate side effect. You must be familiar. I had not thought that the process had got so far and had become so well known.
I spent some years in my youth in the smithy, Throne, and I'm familiar with the dizziness of the lit fire and the clang of steel.
You'll know then that the fumes that are given off from very many of the traditional processes are acrid and foul themselves, as we burn the impurities out of the earth to get at the real value that lies within that. And those impurities get turned into the air and float offwards. But I need to calm a little. I've been very, very worried recently. Not more so with events and how the turn that they have taken.
Well, yes, of course, and I had expected you to be of a more somber tone. I'll be honest.
Yes, of course, yes.
Please do take a moment, and perhaps the fumes will dissipate.
Well, this is why I have the incense to burn. I would rather that the door remains closed for the moment.
Yeah. Does it seem? Does anyone want to take a look around just for kind of security and stuff?
Yeah. Okay. Let's have some awareness rolls.
Yeah.
And then we'll have some insight rolls as we move into the encounter.
Okay. Yeah. Awareness is not good.
Is there scope for search? So can I just search too?
You can have a search, but all that means is that you'll be rooting through the workshop rather than looking around and about. So maybe if somebody's hidden under a desk, you'd find them.
Yeah, I'm not very aware. I am aware of what you're saying, but apart from that, my awareness is.
Yeah. Okay.
Lacking.
There aren't very many lines of sight for you to be able to kind of see through and out of in this place. Did you get anything, Cirque? Did you take a look? See.
What's the target number?
Standard 14.
No.
I got 6.
Yeah. Okay.
3.
Okay. He's got like actively calming himself down a little bit.
Yeah. And the door's closed. There's no. I mean, yeah, it's quite a busy area as well, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, there's a lot of footfall.
Noisy.
There's a lot of noise, a lot of footfall. Less so than usual. You think that a lot of the race of man are not so coming along here to commission works as perhaps they would ordinarily have been. So there's a little bit of fall off, but not masses.
Okay. All right. Should we do insight rolls?
Have some insight rolls.
Yeah, I got a 1.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Did you get a bonus, Joe, for cosplaying as Colin Farrell from True Detective Season 2?
Who? What? Colin Farrell in True Detective Season 2. Has anyone actually watched that?
Yeah, it's the one that you watched one episode of and realised it was rubbish and went straight to Season 3.
Okay.
18.
18, so you get a success dice.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Got 1.
I managed to whack myself into one of his pieces. I got a Eye of Sauron and a 1. Probably walked into a
You've broken something. When you sat on the stool, did it crush some really intricate items?
That's right.
Oops. I'm so sorry.
Loftar stands up and there's just like this thing
Is that supposed to do that? Is that supposed to do that? So.
I'll just take that away. You can see his like face is crestfallen.
Can I cover it now?
Yeah. So Torg, you get through. It's clearly been very anxious. He's clearly a more high-strung individual than you would necessarily kind of expect from a traditional smithing pursuit. And you think he probably values more of the intellect or craft over any military or martial art.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Nothing for me to talk to him about, really. Then
that might be one of the reasons why he's a little bit more distant from you. You're also from the Iron Hills, so
yeah.
So I'd quite like to kind of have a quick scan of his workshop, and just kind of, I'm looking for something that I might be able to use to almost symbolize Balin, to kind of lead into the conversation about Balin. So something that might represent him in some format.
Stand up a small model of a dwarf.
Yeah, there are a number of small models
kind
of
of thing,
dwarves. Yeah, there are a number
This one
of.
is dead, but if we stand it up and put it in this basement.
So there are a number of.
Oh no, I'm dead. Oh no, I'm dead. Oh no, I'm better now. Yeah, that's the kind of subtlety I'm aiming for. Yeah.
Yeah, so there are a number of small models of dwarves. One of them is like like your humanoid art reference figure where you can articulate the limbs. So there's one of those around.
Does it have an articulated beard?
It does indeed have an articulated beard. It has a
Does it
traditional
really?
dwarven helmet with it
It's
as
got
well.
a flip-up beard.
Yeah, no, you can move bits of the beard around.
So I'd like to just kind of ease over to that and pick it, like seek his approval to pick it up, like, if I may,
of course,
and then inspect it. And I'm kind of looking to use my own knowledge of smithcraft and crafting to find some kind of feature in it purely from a craft point of view that I can start the conversation with.
Yeah, okay. So let's think about this. So you've got the smithing trait. So the pins so it would be an apprentice's job to produce the pins that are used to kind of like pin the woods together, so where the knees would be and such like. And they're very well made, and you can see that they've had the Mines of Erebor kind of symbol hammered into the end of them to identify where they're from. And also it's a very, even though it's a reference piece, it's a very finely made reference piece. So you can see that it's been done with substantial professional pride.
Okay, cool. Can I roll for that?
Yeah. Do you want to roll a riddle to kind of like say that you're communicating, or do you want to roll
craft?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, to kind of interrogate the piece so that I feel I can speak with authority about the techniques he's used and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 dice in craft, so I'm hoping for something. If I can actually see. What's that? Oh, it's a 4, 5, so 9, 13, 15.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you've got that aspect to it to be able to talk about how it was created. It's quite clever the way in which he's got more articulation than you would have expected. So the articulated beard, there's a bit where the eyes can move, Action Man style.
Fantastic. Okay, and if you twizzle it back, it does a punch.
It does a punch, and then it elbows, and then it backflips, and then it takes on a fighting stance.
Amazing. Okay, so the articulation of the limbs in this piece is incredible.
Thank you.
The movement is so fluid and lifelike. I'd almost call it graceful.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's I use it to model the other pieces from, so it's important that I'm able to get it so that it goes into the right stances. I did quite a lot of reference work on how we and how Durin made us so that we can move around. So I've constrained the model in very many similar ways. I got lots of sketches actually of my studies that I used to create it.
Oh, really?
Right.
Could I see them? Was there someone that you used as the inspiration for this piece?
Not one in particular. I guess it is honouring all of our forefathers in some ways, and he kind of reaches across, pulls open a drawer. He's got lots of sheafs of paper. A number of them have got painting, solid colours painted down one side, and he kind of skips through them using the those as like markers as if they're tabs in a book, and then he kind of pulls out a few sheets, and you can see that on the sheets there are fair but not the best draftsman, but kind of pencil drawings of different dwarves in different positions, kind of very similar to like a Leonardo da Vinci kind of notebook where he's got like just a study of how the knee is shaped and the tendons and how that prohibits the movement and things like that, with some commentary around not mirror writing or anything, but
kind of geometrical sort of
that kind of thing. Yeah, and he's got the proportions trying to map out. It's not he's got the Vitruvian dwarf in the
Didn't quite fit the circle.
That's right. The figure's like really stretching to try to reach the edge. Got an axe in both hands.
Well, this is it's an amazing amount of work that goes into the craft. Very different from my own experience of crafting, which is all brute strength and toil. Yours is a craft that begins with the mind through. I find myself drawn to this piece because it symbolizes this thing that you refer to as almost as a benchmark or a role model. The same way that I felt myself about Lord Balin. I'm kind of looking for reaction in his eyes at the mention of Lord Balin.
You get a definite kind of like, and then he kind of like looks around a little bit. Do you want to make a riddle roll?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. I'm always torn a little bit between asking for rolls where you could fail and they're all stumbles, and just trying to give you an opportunity to roll for the AP.
Yeah, well, that's okay. There's always you got levels of success, I guess, haven't you?
Yeah. And it's like TN 12, given the way in which you've set this up and what you know and so on.
I think I'm going to be spending a point of hope. That's 7. The riddle, I can only get it up to 11. Okay. I'll fail.
So you'll communicate your point, but perhaps a little bit more clumsily than you intended. So he goes, shh, let him stay safely dead for now. And he kind of like, gives you the nod.
Right. Okay.
But I can help in other ways. And he kind of reaches, just hold there, friends. And he kind of goes off into a little bit of an area you couldn't see from where you were. It looks as if it kind of goes around as if it's like a pantry attached to a kitchen. And kind of comes back. And in his hand he has the most beautiful little songbird. Looks exactly like a thrush. This is a mechanical friend of mine. Very capable flyer. If you let it go from anywhere around town or its vicinity, it will fly straight back here, only to return to the precise spot from where you let it go if I rewind it and send it out. after you. This way, you could deliver a message, writing perhaps on a small piece of parchment and tying it to the bird's leg. I will make sure the recipient will receive that message. You could also tell anyone you wish to check here regularly for messages. I can keep a secret. And this is a wondrous item. It looks very much like a thrush. The detailing of the wings of the different feathers and the kind of leading tail feathers and the spike of the tail feathers at front and the fronds around its neck. It's kind of eyes and its beak. And there's a handle that you just turn on its front to wind it up. And it's not much bigger than an actual thrush, just fitting in the size of your hand.
This is an amazing item. Did you craft this through?
I did. This was my first masterpiece.
Truly, it is a mark of incredible use, as well as being craft unlike anything I've ever seen before.
I might not be able to turn out 3 nails and 4 hammers an hour, like the Iron Hills want, but I can create things of great beauty like this. Now, you tell me which is furthering the cause of dwarven kind.
Right. Well, we'll take it and use it carefully. There was something else we wish to speak with you about. Through.
Of course.
My companion Cirque knows more of the matter than I do.
What do you know of Thane Oscar, or Gunvar, Lord of Ashbrook, and Brynny, Lord of Stromberg? Would any of them have any issues with the individual in question?
I don't
or
know.
would you know someone who would know?
I have not had masses of interactions or dealings with any of them. Lord Gunvar, he is always at the toy market. It's a point of pride that he attends. I have sold him some trinkets and small pieces myself, nothing particularly grand. I think he is perhaps a bit quick to anger. I have seen how he tries to haggle my colleagues down at times. Lord Briny, always incredibly well dressed, always fantastically put out. I've heard it said that when the King's Gold bell rings, you can hear his lordship racing to get there first. But there are those who say he's never so eager to actually do anything other than act the part. But this is just tavern gossip. Thane Oscar is not a fan of dwarven kind. I've heard it said that he believes it was the greed of dwarves that brought Smaug to Erebor in the first place. He was also, I understand, present when King Bard and King Thorin, during Look After Him, are having a bit of a to-do at the gates of Erebor after Smaug's fall. I do not believe that created a great picture of dwarven kind for him at all. But I do not really engage myself in either with that nobility or with the common gossip. I'm sure that if you were to ask around the town,
do they have any dwarves among their among their people, perhaps as advisors or warriors or servants even?
Not to my knowledge, but then my knowledge of such matters is limited.
Understandable. Immersed as you are in your craft, clearly.
Yes, and those who appreciate it. Perhaps you could ask in the town. Perhaps you could. Well, from my perspective, there is the way in which people behave towards those they seek and see as being inferior is the truest test of their character. So perhaps if you ask around the common folk, they will be able to offer their opinions.
Sound advice.
There is something I wanted to ask. Something else, through, if I may.
You may, and he looks down at the thing you broke.
But please let me compensate you for that loss, and I'm trying to offer him some
19 treasure.
Yeah, okay.
That's more than a year's worth. That's more than a year's worth in Mirkwood.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever gone near 19 treasure.
We haven't got near 9.
No, but 9 in probably in a few years. But okay. I really admired this piece of the Lonely Mountain, and I must admit your craft is amazing. I wanted to ask you about these dwarves from the Iron Hills. Have you had any run-ins with them again?
Not since yesterday, no. They have been plaguing. They have been plaguing the Anvil Way. Even the smiths that are not toy makers or jewelers aren't doing it right. They aren't honouring the traditions. They shouldn't be taking money from the people of Dale. On and on and on it has been.
No, I can understand that. And let me assure you, this is not our way. And I say this as a dwarf from the Iron Hills. We're not all like that. There is a view of tradition, but I think their view is somewhat skewed or narrow-minded. And I just wanted to offer my apologies for what it's worth for my sort of clansmen's behaviour, because it's not acceptable. We have to now be, working together towards the common goal, and we all have to live together now, right? This prosperity will not come from just one group getting over other groups. But I was hoping to get your opinion on something, and what do you think their agenda is, or to what extent they could, push their business, or what could they be capable of, perhaps? Just what we're dealing with here.
Okay, make a courtesy roll.
Yes.
Matt,
I could do a riddle.
Take my bonus die.
All right.
I think courtesy, the way in which you presented
thank you,
there is very much around being courteous to him.
Well, I'm trying to be nice, because trying to compensate for my
19 treasures worth of debt.
Target number 29.
Yeah,
as a result of the treasure.
Well, I've added the die, but that's no good. Even if I spend a point of hope, because you only get that's a heart thing. My heart is 3.
Okay.
So
what did you get? Sorry.
7.
Yeah. Okay. So you can see that he hears what you're saying to him, but he's still a bit wary about that, and I wouldn't know what they're capable of, or what their agenda is, beyond what they have said to me. They're aggressive and angry, and seem to be somehow desperate. I'm afraid of things that are angry and desperate and angry and desperate
Yeah.
against me.
No, that it is dangerous indeed. Let me ask you this, just another view. So, do you think in their desperation, they would be capable of crossing the boundaries of our race and, for example, work with, let's say, men? I know I'm trying my luck here because you might not know this, but obviously you've had some dealings with them, and we're just trying to get them.
Cross the boundaries of our race and work with men every single day. I do not see that as being a boundary line at all.
No, and I'm
Hills.
saying that the same. I'm from Iron Hills, and
Whispering behind him.
As another dwarf from Iron Hills, we've worked with men, with hobbits. We trade and sell to whoever wants to get our craft. But I'm just talking about these two particular. I mean, I just want to know whether, for example, they would be too proud to ever, I don't know, get into any sort of business with men, or
They're too proud to get into bed with men.
well, yes, putting it like as my colleague said, put it quite bluntly.
Well, if they haven't been able to sell stuff, they might have to just do what they need to make ends meet.
I don't know. I think that if they could convince themselves that they were using men to their own purpose, I don't think that they would see it as being an equal partnership.
But they've been throwing their weight around Anvil Way. That's not good news. So have they threatened dwarves through?
They threatened me, as you saw.
Threatened you? Oh yes, in the toy market, of course.
Yeah, we'll have a word with them. I can promise you at least that from me as a dwarf from Iron Hills. Yeah.
Let us offer our protection to the dwarven smiths of Anvil Way, and we'll see what we can behavior of these two.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for the audience, and remember the thrush, should you have need of it.
I will use it when I have need to. Thank you.
I can get messages to where they need to be sent.
It's most useful. Thank you, Thrun, for your time and your patience. And we'll leave you to your craft.
I felt calmer, but I must admit I'm a little worried now. I think I'm going to go and plate some more things. I always feel a little more relaxed.
You might want to invent some venting, an extractor fan.
I think I vented at the start of our conversation, if I'm entirely honest.
Maybe wear a mask.
No,
I've got a really good design. You can just, that'd be fine.
Do you wear that to the supermarket, Ben?
No, I wear it for airbrushing.
Fair enough. Okay, cool, great. So what's next in the on the plan, gentlemen?
I want to kill some more
gossip.
guys.
Sorry, hold on.
Do we reckon our friendly old woman, Nickel, Stitchy woman, might be a good source of gossip?
She's
on
ideal.
the
Gudrun would be
the
all
royalty.
over it.
The market gossip, yeah. Fantastic. Source
Do we
of,
want to maybe go look her up?
Yeah, what's more important, that or telling these dwarves of the Iron Hills to back down?
Oh, okay.
I thought you were trying to ingratiate yourself with them to find out what's going on. You're going to have a difficulty kind of threatening them to back down and then kind of going, tell us who your mates are.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think at a certain point, Torg is just going to crack, and his pride is basically what's going to get in the way of him pretending to be their friend.
He's going to go Clovis on their asses.
Potentially.
He's
Are you
going to
proposing
Clovis them
to-
in half.
Sorry, Matt.
Cirque, are you proposing to sort of split? Because if you feel like there's too many of us, I wouldn't mind having a word with these two
Well,
idiots.
I don't mind, but obviously Torg's got the best relationship with what's her face.
Gudrun.
Yeah.
Gudrun, that's it.
Huh?
I've lost me notes. I can't remember anyone's name.
There's a risk, so
if you want to go look them out,
yeah,
I might
I
come
could
with,
do that.
but
with
no,
you.
I think I'd
Go and have
antagonise
a-
them if I come with you. They'd antagonise me and I'd kick off.
Yes. I would have to spend more time sort of restraining you, and they would probably.
Do you want to
kick
go
me
try
in,
and find out
but-
what they're up to? Or try and locate them
I'll
and
go
find,
and
kind of,
search for them.
you ingratiate yourself with them,
Sure.
and then we could arrange to come meet you and then kill them later.
Sure, that sounds good. Remember, as a dwarf.
I mean, not
I have my
shadow
way in.
point.
That well. Let's hope it won't come to that.
Okay, so.
Yes.
Oh, go on,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, yeah. So the town gossip in the market is different to Gudrun, right? That's not the same person.
A woman who you did all the stitching for. Who did the stitching?
She's not the.
Oh, Kelda.
Kelda, that's
Kelda's
the
the
one.
woman who
yeah.
did the stitching.
Kelda, yeah.
Kelda's who you've got the relationship with, is what I was meaning.
Yeah.
If we're going to go talk to her, it probably makes sense for you to talk to her.
So
Yeah,
who's
so okay,
Gudrun?
so Kelda's not. So Kelda is. So Gudrun is the washerwoman in the market.
Yeah, she's the
Yeah.
gossip.
Yeah, that's right. Kelda is
Yeah.
the seamstress.
Okay.
Right.
But Kelda's going to have probably insight and info. She's probably done a lot of work for these people, hasn't she, over the years? Essentially.
I think we should speak to Gudrun in the.
All right. I don't mind.
I don't want to rope her into any more trouble.
Oh, we've
with
only
it.
almost got her killed like 3 times. It's fine.
Okay.
She's done all right out of it.
So you're heading back.
w-
Go on.
Loftar, I think you can handle these dwarves of the Iron Hills on your own because they're your kin. If Torg goes along, I think he knows that he's in danger of going a little bit too far.
Yeah, that seems
The
fair.
Clovis effect.
And we need diplomacy here.
Only to a point where they force me draw my mattock and just
Is that what your name of your matic is? Diplomacy.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. Sir. Thank you very much.
We can go.
Loftar always brings diplomacy to the meetings.
It's when Thatcher was kind of pressed into taking the diplomatic route for the Falklands.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I in my encounters, I always rely on diplomacy as the best tool to get the job done, and that's very true, I think.
First I talk, and if
I
that
want
doesn't,
that's now carved into the side of your matic.
first I talk, and if that doesn't work, I go down the diplomatic route. Okay. So let's then start with you, Torg. You're heading into the market square. Gudrun is there in her washing area. She's got a big washing tub. People are coming and like leaving the clothing there and having a bit of a natter with her. A bit of money exchanges at the end of the day. She's got a team of primarily young girls, but some young boys who kind of come and take these things and race off with them so that they can start drying off in the common land and things like that. Eventually,
She's running a sweatshop, isn't she?
yeah, they run off to the laundry / make iPhones, and eventually the kind of crowd thins a little bit, such that you can kind of get in close to have a conversation. You don't think you're gonna be overheard.
There she is.
Number 3.
Sorry,
Solid Roger Worm number 3.
sorry for your loss and all that. What do you need washing?
Thank you, Gudrun.
I'm
Eloquently said.
no good with metal. It rusts.
It does. As have your vocal cords from the sound of it.
Well,
Is Cirque with me as well?
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
I
right,
know.
okay.
Oh, I do like the colours in that. It must be a bugger to Rosh. Do they run?
If I do.
What,
She's looking at Cirque's like doublet.
We probably should have gone via the Golden Sheaf and picked up our dirty laundry. Actually, legitimise this encounter.
I'm wearing mine.
Yes, one knows.
So
we
what-
probably should go. Let me go get your laundry from the ship.
What can I do, you fine fellows?
Well, we're still new to Dale Goodrun, and obviously you're the you're the font of all knowledge in the town.
She's kind of thrusts herself up. I've heard
Nothing
that
worth
said
knowing,
before.
you
You
know.
aren't the first. You aren't the first. Not much escapes these eyes. They might have a few cataracts in them, and I've lost a bit of smell, and my hands are all wrinkled from the cork.
Aye. The gaze of your eyes is inescapable, especially the wandering one.
Oh, that's the one
Somehow.
that gets all the news, all the good stuff. Now, I'm not a gossip,
No.
but you know, what is it? What is it that interests you today, sirs?
Well, if I'm honest, we're keen to make a place for ourselves here and move up in the world, and to do so, one must network with those who have and those who make decisions.
Oh,
But,
yeah, the hobnobs. Ah, you're very right there.
Aye,
You're climbing the greasy
the
pole, are you?
that's the one. The hobnoblins.
Whatever it
Aye,
takes
we
to
need-
get into the society.
So specifically, we we thought you might be able to give us some advice about the noblemen
Oh,
of Dale. And,
I've met a nobleman in my time. Let me tell you.
Aye.
But I have
can
to say,
imagine.
my memory is fading with time. It is fading with time. There was a period
Well,
where
there-
I had a golden memory, golden memory, but it's
Give it 2 gold.
Golden
oh, it's yeah. So who are you interested in?
So there have been a few noblemen in your time, have there, Gudrun?
Oh yeah, let me tell you, I didn't used to look like this, you know.
I can't imagine you ever looking any other way. And do they ever come to you for information or to have their washing done and things like that?
Oh no, they don't come to information. I might see their shitty pants every so often come across my tub, but that's the servants that bring that, not anything to do with me. They don't bring them. I mean, look, this is a wash tub in the market square. But what are you here for exactly? Which nobles are you interested in the
Well,
shits in their pants?
Yeah, sir, you know more about these three notable nomen that we're keen to start to move in the same circles as.
The 3 names that we were recommended to us: Gunvar,
Oh.
Oscar, and Bruni.
Oh, let me think now. So,
In fact,
Gunvar.
here's another gold because there's 3 of them.
Oh, I was gonna say, you know, my memory was getting a bit hazy about the third one. Couldn't quite remember which
Yeah.
one it was.
I sensed that was coming
Oh,
on.
I thought you might have done. You're a quick
I've
lad,
got
you are.
nothing in sight.
You'll go far. Well, Gunvar, he's quick to anger. Always in Dale, never in Ashbrook. I've seen him here more than I bet his wife's seen him. Now, anyone would think he was a king more. Anyone would think a king is more important than his people. He's climbing up the greasy pole, I'm sure. I wouldn't be at all surprised if you meet him on the way up there. Aye. One of a fellow kind of like lurking is just collecting a set of a small brown wrap set of clothing. He leans in He's wearing the livery of King Bard. My Lord Gunvar, if you give him a yard, he tries to take a mile. He's been suspected of forging some wills in his time, but not enough to do anything about it. He's hitched his wagon to Lord Hakon recently. Ah, that's good to know that. Thank you very much. Now, Doris, he gets a free one next time. Oh, thank you.
What about the
thank
washing?
you. The general
While you wait service.
nods to you. Now, what was the other name? Now? What is it?
Thane Oscar.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised you were asking about Thane Oscar. Not a fan of dwarves. Not a fan of dwarves at all. But I've heard... I have this on a very, very strong authority. He actually provides funds for foundlings and orphans, men and dwarves alike. And his money pays the expenses of many veterans of the Battle of Five Armies. So whilst he might not be a fan of dwarves, I don't think he takes a dislike to any given dwarf in particular, if you take my meaning. He's always... he's an honest man, is Thane Oscar. An honest man. Always pays his due. Always tips well.
A flicker of silver.
Better than that, I'll have you know. Now, whose washing were you asking me to air in public again?
Pretty Lord of Stromberg.
Oh my God. What a twat. That's all I've got to say. I tell you, his steward must be pretty good. No, sorry, it's a woman. She must be pretty good because she's got to pick up a lot of slack out in Strandberg. It's easy to be a rich lord when you start out as a very rich lord, let me tell you. Excuse me, passerby says. I'll have you know, he's actually pretty tough. When he's in Dale, he lets himself go a bit. He indulges himself. And he's very aware that it was the king that elevated him to greatness, and he feels that the king could push him back down again, so he attends upon the king at every opportunity. Whatever, love, whatever. I just know that everything he brings here is the finest cloth, and it must be paid for out of his citizens, out of his subjects' work.
I give her one more and ask about Lord Hakon.
Well, he's not been happy since he got shunted out into the marches as opposed to the northern Dale lands. Couldn't prove his claim to his lands. Lost a fortune when Dale fell and he got moved across to Esgaroth.
Didn't blame anyone in particular for that.
Him. Wears very frilly pants. Never trust a man who wears pants that frilly.
Clearly something to hide. And he...
Dirk's tucking the thrills and...
Torg's just kind of checking.
Torg realises he's not wearing any.
Torg realises that they're actually in the washer bucket and just banging them out.
So Lord Hakon is a Lord of Esgaroth now, and was once a Lord of Dale.
That's right. And he's weaseled his
And
way.
Weasel
is the right word for him. Weaseled his way into King Bard's affections.
He sounds weaselly already from what little I know of him. So is he? Is he originally from Dale?
Aye. He's a family.
Yes. Okay.
Word has it, and this one's for free. Thank you very much. Word has it that he claimed lands that weren't his in the northern Dale lands, prime lands, and he got ousted when the rightful owner turned up. Since then, he says he's embraced the kingdom and embraced the king of King Bard, who he doesn't actually respect. That's what I've heard, and he's become one of his chief counsellors. Says that it was the king moving him off his lands that made him see the rightness of the king's ways.
Do you know if any of them have any dwarves in their retinue?
No, none of them.
So Lord Hakon is now a councillor of King Bard.
Oh yeah.
And he does this from Esgaroth.
Oh no, he does it from Dale. I mean, he got shunted out to Esgaroth when Dale fell, didn't he? Lost a fortune, never recovered it back. Now his lands are out in the marches, toward the gap between the River Running and the Iron Hills.
Interesting.
Useful as ever.
Ah, you're welcome. Thank you. And she jingles.
I'd like.
She's put her
Yeah,
coins.
I'd like to offer her a silver coin. Yeah.
Thank you.
Whip that off you quicker than she got your pants in that laundry.
Your knowledge knows no bounds, as does your ability to wash filthy linen.
It's only filthy when it starts here. It's clean when it leaves.
Absolutely.
Yet it goes in the same bucket and comes out. I don't know how it works.
Shut your
Barrel.
yapping, you progressive thinking liberal. Away with you.
Depoliticize the stream.
I love the kind of like, let's try not make it political. Who politicizes the stream more?
I'm just putting circumstances out there that may or may not be reflective of events in the world.
Oh, do we have to start with the disclaimer of this is a work of fiction? Anything to any association with
published
field or
materials.
theme?
Loftar, where are you gonna go hunting the Smiths?
We've last time spotted them in the market, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. So that would be my first port of call, and then we have agreed or invited them to come to the Golden Chef. They've not.
Golden Sheaf. The
Sheaf.
Golden Chef shut down when its parent company Little Chef went bust.
Travesty.
Sorry, for some reason I was assuming it's just a guy that's cooking sausages and is made of gold, but it's clearly a sheaf.
I like the definition of Matt's definition of a chef. The guy who cooks sausages.
Go on,
okay.
Loftar.
So I'll head to the market.
Okay, so let's have an awareness roll, please.
I love these. Whenever you want to do a search roll for me, I'll be more than happy. But
whenever you
awareness
start
will
searching
work
places, then we can do search rolls.
That feels like important. I'm going to spend a point of hope on that. I've got 17.
17. Okay.
With this, yeah.
So you're keeping your eyes peeled as you're walking around. There's nothing in the market, so you kind of wander a little bit down towards the exit of the market, as if you were going towards the docks side of the town, and you see one of and you're kind of going past the missing scale, the very luxurious inn. Just going past the entrance into the stables, which is a big wide entrance. You could easily get a couple of carriages kind of into this place as you go. The stables are pretty expensive, and you catch a quick look in there, just admiring the size of the horses and the kind of complexity of the operation around there. These are big, like Shire horses, by and large. Even the ones that would pull a cart would be a big draft off. There's no like Arabian thoroughbreds or anything along those lines. And you can see one of the dwarven figures, hood kind of like up, tucked away to the corner of the stables, and they are talking with a man who has got a red livery, and you see a wavy blue band across a white field.
Okay. Is there any way I can drop? Is there enough people around so I can stealthily approach them a bit more closely?
Like a stealth roll.
Trying to, just quietly disappear into the public and see if I can approach them closely. Okay, I'm going to make an effort.
Is all correct, all right?
Yeah,
Okay. That's
Can I take this back?
Sorry.
It's a 14.
14.
Is that the bin man?
Yeah, that's right. Just come to pick up the washerwoman and take her away. 14. Yeah, so there's lots and lots of activity, lots of people milling around. It's a semi-public space, so nobody's stopping you from entering. There's an assumption that you're probably part of an entourage, maybe a bodyguard if somebody stayed at the inn, that kind of thing. You drift your way across. So what, you're going to try and listen in on what they're saying to each other.
Classic eavesdropping. Yes. Put the hood up. Probably sit somewhere on the bench or.
Yeah. Okay.
Why not dive into a bale of hay, Assassin's Creed style?
Oh, absolutely. That's all I have in my head right now.
Okay.
I do like the sitting on a bench with the hood up because that's very Assassin's Creed as well. Get some concubines to dance around you. No one will notice you then.
So the concubines are all out working for the washerwoman, so they're not available at this moment in time. So you hear snatches of conversation. You could try to get in a little bit closer, but that would be another stealth roll. You could try and listen.
I'll take a risk.
You could try and listen a little bit closer, which would be an awareness roll.
I've been walking this Middle Earth for a few years now. I feel taking risk now won't do me any harm. What's the worst that can happen, right? So I'm rolling now.
Which would you rolling? Stealth or awareness?
Stealth, yeah, just to be closer. It's good. Yeah, no, it's 15.
Okay, yeah. So they seem to be fairly engrossed in their conversation. So you hear the man says the golden chief, and the dwarf says, "Aye, aye." That's what they said, and we've had that corroborated, and you're certain that they are sympathetic. They could be an asset. Aye, aye. One of them, the thick one, he's from the Iron Hills. We know of his family. They're just grasping after money. He's good in a fight, though. Good in a fight. The rich one, Torg, we're a bit confused. We think that his clan may have pushed him out of Erebor, so he may well. He's got a chip on his shoulder about how the men are. There was all kinds of incidents last year where he was getting himself into a little bit of hot water because of his mouth. The weak one.
Sorry, that's dwarves talking, right?
That's the dwarf talking to the figure who's listening studiously. The weak one, a little bit confused about, if we're honest. We wouldn't mind if he was found in a gutter, but he could probably be turned like the others. He seems to follow Torg's lead, and they would absolutely be willing to undertake. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say how far it goes. At the very least, you should either have them with you, or have them because they're making inquiries. I think they're onto something, so they may need to be put to one side whilst but if they are, then they will be a great asset. This is very interesting. I'll pass this news on, and we'll endeavour to we'll decide what to do now. Keep yourselves low. You've attracted enough attention with your discussions in the marketplace yesterday. You are. That's what the man says, and the dwarf replies back.
Yeah.
You aren't my
Any
lord.
names being mentioned? So,
No.
Sorry to. Okay.
No.
Mhm.
You aren't my lord. We'll do what we will. Think of the bigger plan, dwarf. And they kind of like separate out. So the dwarf kind of like starts to move off, like pretending a little bit that he's kind of packing some saddlebags, really badly, half-assed deception kind of thing, and then he's kind of moving back out. The liveried servant is putting goods onto a wagon. Make me another stealth roll, please, as this dwarven figure moves more closely, coming past you.
Sure. Come on. No pressure, man. You can do it. Loftar. Okay. It's a great, 14 and great success.
Okay, cool. Yeah, good stuff. Doesn't notice you at all as he's like hood up, head down, as he kind of like purposefully kind of leaves, hangs to head down towards the docks. And this figure kind of loads some stuff on, leaves it half finished, and then moves into the missing scale.
Yeah. Is there any way I want to make an attempt to follow the man in the red livery?
Okay.
Not bothered about the dwarves.
Yeah, okay, so it's fairly easy for you to kind of move and follow him in. Make another stealth roll for me, please.
Okay. This is weird, but this is important as well. So I'm going to spend a point of hope.
So you're taking it from the fellowship pool. You're replenishing from the fellowship pool.
Yes, if that's okay. So I would have taken 2, but now leaving 2 because we have 4.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just I have low numbers. You see, I have a great success, but it's low numbers. So with this now, it gives me 17 great success.
Okay, so the figure walks into the back of the missing scale, which is essentially a through route to get to the main common hall, and also off to the kitchens and such like. It's well appointed, clearly very luxurious. The reeds here are freshly laid. There's clearly something scented that are put down on there, and he turns right and starts to ascend. You hear the creaking of stairs as he kind of wanders up. This is moved off into the servants' area. This is not intended to be an open area. You kind of wait for a gap, dart up, wait for the noise as he turns a corner at the top of the stairs, kind of move up behind him. He kind of walks along, goes along a reasonably lit corridor, even though the light is comes in from some of the windows. They've got candles burning to light it up more, and then kind of turns into one of the rooms. Doesn't knock, just kind of walks into the room.
Okay. Are there any sort of servants or of that sort around?
Not around at the moment, no.
I'll go downstairs and have a look. Perhaps off the main room, if there are any servants or just staff.
Oh yeah, you go back down. You go into the kind of like main corridor. Loads of people coming in and out of the stables. A lot of them carrying goods in and out. And goods being like small bags that's supposed to trade goods and what have you. There's a small girl, maybe 15, mousy hair, very plainly dressed, clearly a servant, just carrying a bundle of linens under her arm.
Excuse me. I'm hoping you can help me.
Let me see if I can do a 15-year-old girl voice. Hello, my lord.
I produce a small coin, obviously, Martian and all. Small coin. I was hoping you'd help me with a bit of a delicate matter. I've been dealing with a gentleman staying in this inn, delivering some goods, and I've missed one of the little parcels. You know, this is so highly embarrassing for me and my family, and I just hoping that you could give me his name, and I now provide his description.
So of whom?
Of the man in the red livery. So he's sort of a man, red livery.
Make a riddle roll.
Yeah, love one of those. I would love one of those. Come on. 9, which is also 9.
She looks slightly confused, but as soon as you mention the wavy blue band across a white field, she says, "Oh, he must be one of Lord Gunvar's servants. That's Lord Gunvar's crest."
Mm-hmm. Well, much appreciated. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Don't let me stop you. I'll be on my way now.
The coin.
Oh yes, of course, yes, absolutely,
thank you,
yes,
thank
yes.
you.
There you go. That's for your trouble.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. With that, I'll probably just head back.
You do realise that the missing scale is now going to get reported to the ICO. Massive GDPR breach.
Absolutely, yeah. This is. I've heard that the fines are massive now since the new regulation came in.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Great. Anything else?
No, just I'll head back. I mean, unless the dwarves are around the missing scale, which I'm assuming they're not.
No, the laundry woman is well up the market square from the missing scale, and in fact, I think that Cirque and Torg are probably grabbing a bite to eat. Maybe a good heart.
I can find them later.
Yeah, that sounds fair. We feel like we've done a good morning's work. We've earned, putting our feet up and having a bite to eat.
Bread.
Yeah, maybe a pie, and a long pipe. Maybe an hour's worth of pipe smoking is what's due.
After around about 15-20 minutes, Loftar arrives back.
Loftar.
Hello, lads.
The pie is still hot.
Oh, the main
The pig's all gone.
The most important business. Let's have a pie, an ale, and let's talk.
Is it talk for common room talk or a bit more kind of?
I'm afraid this is no. I think this is a private quarters talk with a pie.
Okay, yes.
So I think we'll call the episode there. We've been recording for just under an hour, 2 hours, sorry. Call the episode there. And clearly we normally split the sessions into 2 episodes, so we'll get the second episode, which will be episode... This is episode 11. Episode 12 will be the second half of this session. I don't propose that we take a break or anything. We'll just call the episode there because that's a neat place to leave that there. So we'll do the stuff that we do at the end of the episode. Thank you for watching. Next episode will be up here about a week after we release this one, which hopefully will be released tomorrow. Hope you've enjoyed it so far. Continuing investigations in Dale. Thank you.
With Loftar PI.
Less drunk than the previous one. Yeah, thank you, Doom Bunny, for your succinct synopsis of the episode. Very accurate.